What is up, guys? My name is BobaTalks and welcome back to a brand new Gotham Season 4 video, and today we are breaking down the promo photos for Episode 3 and a synopsis for Episode 3 of Season 4. And I know, Episode 2 isn't even out yet, the Fear Reaper, the very horror-esque Scarecrow episode, but you know, we have to wait till Thursday for that, and I just thought let's get a little peek and delve into Episode 3, because we got some promo photos. It's not giving so much away, we already know a little bit, so we can speculate and just see what we think is happening in Episode 3 of Gotham. But as always, everybody, if you go on to enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button, as it really does show your support for the channel. And last but not least, if you never want to miss out on a Gotham Season 4 video or any of my other DC TV content, be sure to hit that bell button to enable notifications for this channel, just to enable those notifications so you just never miss out on a beautiful, beautiful BobaTalks video. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the synopsis for Episode 3, and it goes as follows. Gordon takes matters into his own hands when he travels to Miami in attempts to persuade Carmine Falcone for his help in the fight against Penguin. There, he meets Carmine Falcone's daughter, Sophia, who unexpectedly follows Gordon back to Gotham. The battle for Penguin's prized weaponry continues during auction night at the Iceberg Lounge, and Bruce's presence puts him on the Penguin's radar. Now, if you've been watching some of my Gotham Season 4 news videos before Season 4 even came out, we knew that Crystal Reed was coming to Gotham Season 4, and that's a big news for some people, and it's fairly big for me because I've seen a couple of seasons of Teen Wolf, so I know she is a good actor, and either way, she looks like she's going to be great in this as well, just from, you know, Sophia Falcone's character in Gotham, and it's just going to be interesting to see her take on the character in the show. But also with my previous Gotham Season 4 news videos, I've talked about how Ben McKenzie and other people talked about, maybe even at San Diego Comic-Con, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But, you know, Sophia Falcone is going to, as it says in this synopsis, go back to Gotham with Gordon, well, maybe unbeknownst to him, and she will basically help him take down the Penguin, since Carmine is probably just like, you know, my time is temporarily over, maybe he'll come back one day, but like for now, I don't care, Gordon. You know, they have a big history considering Gordon did kill Mario. So this is quite the bold move, but even though we know, you know, he killed Mario for a very good reason, there's still a bit of, even though Falcone knows that, it's still very bloody sensitive subject. It's like if your son dies from an accident or like a car accident, you still don't want to know anything about that other person, even if it's technically not their fault and it's just an accident. But this was Gordon shooting Mario, so you can only imagine what's going through Falcone's mind. So I suspect that is why Carmine Falcone won't be the one to necessarily help Jim. You know, he's definitely going to indulge Jim and just be like, so what's up, my boy? But no, Sophia's going to be there, and she's going to be like, oh, hello, Jimmy baby. And, you know, if there's one thing you guys need to understand about Sophia Falcone, and I know they're going to go this way in the show as well, is that even though Mario was a Falcone, he's Carmine Falcone's son, and, you know, he's not with us anymore, but he was like a doctor. He kind of went the different life, you know, from crime or just like being in, basically taking the footsteps or walking in the footsteps of his father, Don Falcone. But Crystal Reed as Sophia Falcone is going to be more like her father than her brother Mario Falcone was, because she is, you know, just properly like father, like daughter, even though that's not how the saying goes. But in this case, it is like father, like daughter. The synopsis says that she unexpectedly follows Jim back to Gotham, so I'm not sure if that is unexpectedly like, hey, I know you're coming with me, or if she just actually follows him and Jim isn't aware until she might just pop up and at his, you know, apartment and be like, hey Jim, how's it going? But I just realized I'm not really delving into these photos in a minute, so I'm going to sort of break down the rest of the synopsis or whatever according to what photos we're looking at. So as for photo number 1, we can see Selina talking to Barbara. Now this is going to be interesting. It is definitely from the scene, or like, you know, that scene in the trailer where Barbara's walking back in and Tabitha's raising the gun, and we saw this in the episode 2 promo photos, I believe. So I believe by this point, since I believe Barbara is, especially from, you know, the promo photos from episode 2, it looks like she's coming back in episode 2. But, you know, it's obviously at this point, she's going to be repairing things with Selina and Tabitha, well, mostly Tabitha, but Selina basically went to Tabitha, well, or to the bar at the time, the Sirens bar, because she wanted to look for Barbara, and she unexpectedly found Tabitha because she didn't realize Barbara was dead at the time. But now, you know, this is finally, I suspect, what we're getting with Selina finally talking to Barbara, and I bet that happens in the previous episode, but now things are sort of patching up and they're sort of coming together. But I think there might be a hidden agenda for Barbara because of the whole race tie, well, the whole tie she has with Ra's al Ghul in the TV show, because of what he supposedly is doing with her in the show this season, like training her, possibly being the one to bring her back from the dead. But we won't know till we know, but I'll talk more about that when we get some photos with them. Now, I'd like to say as well with this photo and a couple of photos that we're going to talk about in this video from the episode 3 promo photos, that not only are we getting a Vigilante Bruce this season, and even a Batman Year 1 Bruce, I think we're getting that very forward and confrontational, is just spitting that word out, confrontational sort of Bruce, who's very cocky as Bruce, not only as Batman, but as Bruce as well. Because what we saw in episode 2, I believe, is when Bruce and Penguin were, you know, basically eye to eye of each other, and there's a very similar photo in the episode 3 promo photos, and it's just like Bruce, you know, Alfred said to Bruce, there's a time for masks and there is a time for Bruce Wayne. Basically pulling him back from the edge, just saying, look, you can't just go out all the time and just show off how hard you are and just think he can stop everything even without the suit, and he needs to separate that. But I think that he's going to learn that, especially with the guidance of Alfred. But I think this season we're going to get a lot more of a cocky and confrontational Bruce Wayne, because also we learned that we are getting Bruce Wayne, but not in the way we used to, but we're also getting Bruce Wayne from like the villain's perspective, like Penguins and other villains this season. They're finally realizing him for the emerging threat that he actually is, and that fits perfectly what we know as well. And I feel like it's being very much so detailed in the, I mean, we've seen this in comics as well, but the most recent edition is a Batman Telltale series. Whether you're talking about season 1 or season 2, they very much so like to explore Bruce Wayne as much as Batman in that game. Even at times you can go left to right if you want to take this path as the Batman, or if you want to go down the style of Bruce. So I feel like if you get how Bruce Wayne is in the Telltale series, how he's quite the threat in Gotham City to anything like crime, and he's trying to make a stand as well. I feel like this is exactly what they're giving us in the TV show, and I feel like this is exactly what we're seeing in these promo photos, because we see Bruce is getting, you know, a bow tie done up from Alfred, and he's attending possibly the auction night, which we had learned from the synopsis as well. I'll repeat that again for you guys. The battle for Penguin's prized weaponry continues during auction night at the Iceberg Lounge, and Bruce's presence puts him on Penguin's radar. And this is going along with exactly what I just said. I think Bruce is really sticking his neck out, and, you know, just like we saw in episode 1, sorry, I did that earlier, with how he was just in Penguin's face, and you could tell Penguin was laughing a little bit, and then he was like, wait, are you actually being serious? Are you kind of getting in my face, Bruce? And I think this is going to be Bruce's other project this season, with trying to see what he can do about trying to like wrap the Penguin around his finger, and trying to get him not only as a vigilante possibly, but mainly as what Bruce Wayne can do for the city in terms of stopping Penguin's licensing for crime, selling the guns to the highest bidder, and so on and so forth. Because that's what I think the end of that synopsis is. At the Iceberg Lounge, there's going to be this weaponry sort of thing, maybe weapons seized from robberies due to the crime licensing that's going on in the city at the minute. So maybe that is what is going on with this auction, and Bruce is turning up just like, I don't know how this is legal, but, you know, I'm here, you know, seemingly probably faking that he's supporting Penguin and what he's doing, making the city a safer place, but really something's got to happen in this episode that, as the synopsis said, putting, you know, Bruce on Penguin's radar, because in Penguin's mind, he's probably thinking like, this kid is starting to become a thorn in my ass. But God does he only know what it will be like in the future as Batman, not only as Bruce Wayne. Now, even though it says at the Iceberg Lounge auction night, these next few photos of what Bruce is getting dressed up for with Alfred, and with all these smiles, and with this brilliant photo, which I'm about to look at right now, of Oswald and Bruce literally smiling at each other. It seems like Bruce is telling a joke or saying something, Alfred looking kind of concerned, but it seems like quite a few eyes are on them in the crowd, and Oswald is looking at him, you know, just doing his probably sarcastic smile, just like, God damn, I kind of want to get out of here. God damn, this Bruce Wayne kid. But I don't know, to me, this place doesn't exactly look like the Iceberg Lounge. So maybe it's some other kind of event that, you know, Oswald is trying to hold, and Bruce, you know, is making himself look, you know, making everyone know that Bruce Wayne and the Wayne family is still very much a thing in Gotham and a very important family name, and he wants to show himself. And I'm sure we will see more of this, because I really hope they continue along this route, exactly like what they did in episode 1. Just Bruce really not only taking the protector role as Batman, or at least a vigilante at this minute, but just really putting his neck out for the city as Bruce Wayne, and like that notorious name that will hopefully one day, you know, make him such a popular name throughout the city. And I know some people like the playboy, you know, billionaire kind of look, and maybe we'll get tasters of that as well, but I kind of like how maybe a mixture of that, as well as, you know, Bruce Wayne being a very important name through what he does for the city. Now guys, lo and behold, this is what I believe we saw in, I believe, the Dark Band trailer. At a very quick glimpse, we got Selina coming through these curtains, I believe these very curtains right here, and it looks, and it went black and white in the trailer, and it looked like we got a little bit of a proto-Catwoman suit, and I believe this is it, if anything, because it is very basic, just like if you think like Batman animated series, or even, you know, the Arkham games, or just the comic, not necessarily the black Catwoman suit, but sort of the grey, sort of dark Catwoman sleek suit. Not much to it at all. She's got a belt on it. It's not exactly a utility belt, but either way, the main tease is there. She's got the suit, very skin tight. She's got the gloves. She's got a little bit of a curvy side, but it screams proto-Catwoman to me. It just does. And I think this kind of design, now she's rolling around with the sirens like Tabitha and Barbara, and in this photo we see her talking to Bruce. I wonder what it's all going to be about, but she definitely looks really good in this suit, and I'm just looking forward to see how much further her character development goes, in not only terms of appearance, but just, you know, Selina Kyle as well as Catwoman. But this appears to be kind of like the onesie kind of suit that she was wearing underneath that jacket we first saw in that first photo we analysed in this video. Now the next couple of photos are very interesting, because we see Ra's al Ghul not only with Barbara, but it is also in the same room as where Tabitha and Selina and Barbara seem to be hanging out for the first half of this season at least. Basically what we're calling the gun room. And I don't think Ra's al Ghul is going to be hanging around here. I think this is more of a meeting with just between him and Barbara that Selina and Tabitha aren't aware about. And you know what? You know, Ra's al Ghul, it's freaking Ra's al Ghul. He can slip and slide in and out of the shadows, just like he did in episode 1 with, you know, him appearing in that very brief first scene. And this is what I mean, going back to what I said earlier with the hidden agenda that Barbara has. I think, you know, definitely she's going to appear like, you know, maybe she's going to be quite transparent with how she comes back. But, you know, I definitely think, you know, Ra's al Ghul, you know, Ra's al Ghul is 100% up to something. He didn't just bring Barbara back for no reason. I think she's got something up her sleeves. I would love to know what you guys think about what this could be in the comment section down below. I think Ra's al Ghul is mainly going to be very prominent in the second half of season 4, not necessarily the first half. However, the next episode, I believe, was directed by Ben McKenzie, and it is called The Demon's Head. So I think we're going to get the beginning explainer for what Ra's is going to be doing this season. Maybe even a bit of a background story, or this universe's Gotham's version of his origin story, because there was a couple of flashbacks in the trailer where they could have been flashbacks, they might not have been, but where he just pops out of the Lazarus pit as this blade he's staring at. So I don't know, but considering the next episode is called The Demon's Head, and if I remember correctly, there was a bit of information spewed about it, it's going to be very obviously Ra's al Ghul centralized, just how episode 2 is, you know, the Fear Reaper is with Scarecrow. So expect that coming in episode 4. Okay, and kind of going back to the beginning of the video now, here we see what we were talking about with Carmine Falcone and his daughter Sophia Falcone and Jim rocking up in those badass shades at Falcone's house, and we know how this is probably going to go down. I suspect that, you know, Falcone's going to not necessarily want much to do in terms of helping Jim because of just their history now. But at the same time, they also have this unique, close relationship. You know, not only did he know Jim's father, but, you know, they've been through quite a bit together as well. So I feel like he's more of like a second son to Jim, but after what happened, not Jim, but Falcone, but after what happened, I think that led them a bit astray, and Jim never really was properly close from his perspective to Don Falcone. But anyway, I'm going astray now. But anyway, Falcone's daughter, Sophia, is going to follow Jim back to Gotham City, and she is going to be involved with Jim in not only taking down the Penguin, but it's going to be Jim's romance, well, not necessarily romance, but they're going to have a special kind of relationship this season. So even though I think Lee might be kind of endgamey this season, or maybe not, I kind of really wouldn't mind at all if in this season Jim and Lee didn't really have much to do with each other in terms of romance, because it's kind of getting a bit annoying how she's like bye at the end of every season and then she comes back and it's like really rekindling their relationship again. But that is to say, even though Sophia and Jim will be getting involved with one another, if you know what I mean, this season, I don't think those two are going to be, you know, they're not going to last very long in the grand scheme of things. It's a relationship that's doomed to fail. It's more like a Valerie Vale kind of thing, but it's going to be a bit more than that. You know, it's going to be a bit more than how long that lasted on the show. But in these photos, as you can probably tell, it's a very posh place. I mean, it would only be that way for the Falcone family. Looks like Sophia is, you know, been riding on the horse. It's very posh and it's very Falcone. If that, I just wouldn't expect anything less if you rocked up to Falcone's house, and that's where his daughter was staying as well. But anyway, Sophia Falcone's character could be a very sort of dark but complex character. Crystal Reed kind of explained her as she's going to be a bit misunderstood. Like, not necessarily all dark people are like just dark because they want to be the bad person. She's going to be kind of a dark character within herself, but it's going to be a bit more complex than that. So I'm thinking of actually coming out with a separate video and maybe an explainer video for Sophia Falcone and what we can look forward to with her character coming in Gotham Season 4. But that kind of wraps up this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the synopsis and all these promo photos for episode 3. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you let me know by hitting that like button, just because it really does show your support for this channel. And guys, as well, I would love to hear all your thoughts in the comment section below about everything that is coming up in the next couple of episodes. So not only episode 3, but also maybe the Fear Reaper episode 2, but ultimately episode 3, and what you think of Crystal Reed coming to Gotham, what you think of everything going on in this episode. It looks like Bruce is going after Penguin again in a very public way, to the point that Penguin is even going to have Bruce on his radar from now on. And then we've got Sophia Falcone as well. You know, we've got her coming to help Jim take the Penguin down in his battle against Penguin's corruption in the city. With, you know, how corrupt can you get when you can license crime to people? That's just insane. But other than that, guys, if you want to stay a bit more up to date with me personally, you can do so by following me on the links coming up on the screen right now around here, or you can follow me on the links in the description by clicking on one of them in the description links below kind of thing. My words are getting muffled. But other than that, guys, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.